American team, Captain Zara Phillips.
Thank you. Well, the first thing to say is that this one's going to be different because there's a very good reason why we haven't done this before. Zara, as you know, is my daughter, and I am not coach, I'm dad. So the chances of her doing what I ask her to do are quite remote. So anything could happen. And the deal's already been broken because she's got a microphone. That wasn't... When I said I'd do this, I said, yeah, as long as she doesn't have a microphone.
I don't really want it on. It's making my ears stick out. It's just they were going to ask me questions. You can do all the talking now. I'll attempt to ride. I can't do both.
Actually, that's the first thing. Wasn't that a marvellous show by Ben Manor? When you see something done so well and so easy, that really was a privilege and a pleasure to watch. And it was interesting to hear him talk about so many of the things that Richard Davidson talked about as well. He talked about the wall of the school giving the horse balance, and he didn't use the wall because he wanted the horse to find his own balance, but conversely, if you want the horse to help from the wall for balance, then you use the wall. And I don't know whether you noticed that when he was just getting warmed up, what position was his horse in all the time? Yeah? Shoulder forward, yeah? So that inside hind leg was under the middle of the horse all the time. And Richard Davison talked about it. I don't even know whether Ben realised he was doing it, but it was marvellous to see that classical input that we heard from Richard being put into practice with Ben's horse. And also Richard talked about the working pirouette in canter, and you say, well, that might be a little bit of a conflict from what Ben was saying with the straightness, but actually not in training, because when you have that working pirouette, it helps hugely with the balance, because the front leg has to jump up and across over that leading hind leg. And so when you help to develop the canter like that with the working pirouette in canter, then you can go on to the straightness, outside leg, outside rein, that Ben was talking about. So the carry through from one discipline to another really is there. And in eventing, guess what? We have to do the dressage and the jumping and the cross country. And so we'll just there will be some repetition, because it's all the same thing. It doesn't matter whether it's Richard or Ben or Zara in eventing. This horse that Zara's on is a young event horse, sorry, a young advanced horse. And sport can be very cruel sometimes. She had this horse in Bucklow in Holland last week, and he's a super nice young advanced horse. Jumped into the water jump there, probably as good as anybody jumped in all day. The horse landed perfect, took one perfect stride, and then the second stride disappeared like a submarine. And it was almost that he got penalised for jumping in too good. Where did that came from? We talked to all the experts there, and they were just one of those things. That's sport. That's eventing. Because the horses that really scrambled into the water landed all discombobulated, were fine. But a little bit of a setback. But that's sport, and hopefully Zara will have a good season on him next year. We heard Ben talk a lot about balance and the position. Zara, if you just come here a minute, and just stand side by side. Hey! Round one to mark. Just stand side by side. Okay, perfect. Just stand up. That's it. So just collapse the hips a little bit. Sure. Hands off the leg. So we get there in a minute. So there, obviously, is Zara's balance. And you look at any textbook, Then if you come down to because any textbook will show you that it's shoulder, knee, ball of the foot, a straight line. And it doesn't matter whether you're standing up or come down to the saddle, yeah? You've got the same straight line. And a lot of the questions, both to Ben and with Richard this morning, were about tension in the horse, about relaxation of the horse, and how people find our horses are tense. Well, the first key to get rid of tension is being in the balanced seat. Because if you're in the balanced seat and going with the movement of the horse all the time, the horse has got nothing to get tense about. If you get against the movement, yeah, and the horse has got a lot to get tense against, that's a bad snowball. And I think we don't think enough about the rider's position and the rider's balance. And you look at Ben, yeah, like he says, he's a little bit more upright in his position. But did you see how light he was in his seat all the time? Beautifully light and soft and balanced. There was no part of anything that he did that put him into this position with the driving seat and the hollow back. Yeah, he was in that light, balanced seat all the time, and that's what made his horses so wonderful to watch. Yeah. And or his horse rather. So I just sorry if you just start to get warmed up in a little bit of trot, a little bit of shoulder fall, a little bit of canter. And Zara will always, I hope, start by just getting the horses to stretch a little bit, like the other say, get a little loose over the back. It can be a little bit of a spooky one as well, so it might take a couple of minutes just to settle down. And to me, there you see Zara, it's a nice balanced seat. That is the key. That is the start. And I did a session with Yogi and Joe Watson a few years ago, and the one thing everybody agreed on was that you have to be able to start in the middle by having that balanced seat in the middle, and then from there you can have the variation, like we saw from Ben. If he wants to steady the horse in that first stride, maybe sit up a little earlier, and steady the horse in that first stride. If you want to make up ground, you did like you did, and be a bit more forward in that first stride, and the horse can get further forward. We must be able to start in that middle position. And it's pony club stuff, but so often we forget about the basics. Yeah? That's where the arm hangs naturally. That's where you carry the hand, with the elbow just in front of the hip bone, because then your arm is in the middle of its range of motion, so you can be soft. Because certainly in the sport of eventing, and I think we heard a little bit about it earlier on today as well, the rideability, having that softness and relaxation, is more important than ability. If you can't ride the damn thing, and one stride you're taking off from here, the next stride you're taking off from here, it doesn't matter how good the horse is, you're in trouble. You're going to find trouble sooner or later. Yeah, you saw again Richard this morning, moving his horses sideways, leg yielding, a little bit of half pass. They got a little bit of trouble with the screen, but Zara doing the same thing. A bit more forward. And again, you had Ben talking about having the horse going forward and having the horse going forward through the turn. You have to have the horse going forward and seeking the bit in order to have control of the horse. Yeah? If the horse has got curled back and is way light, is behind the leg or dropped the bit, you have no control of the horse. The horse can do anything it wants. But when it's going forward to the bit, then you can have control, then you can have the straightness that